Imagine finishing a long day and feeling like you could go right at another one. In this video, I'm going to explain to you how you can create almost infinite energy out of thin air. And I'm not talking about energy in like the physics sense. I don't give a shit about that. I'm talking about your lived experience, the energy up here. Because chances are that if you're like most people, feeling almost chronically tired and depleted is something you may have gotten used to. In fact, the interest on Google for searches like "I am tired" is at an all-time high and keeps on increasing more and more every day. And here's the thing, your energy levels affect almost everything in your life. The quality of your decisions, of your work, how well you can focus, it's all downstream from how you feel. And how much energy you feel like you have, well, that doesn't work the way you think it does. And let me prove it to you. Here's what I noticed, and I bet this will sound familiar. Whenever I take it easy for a couple of days, I have a lazy weekend, I sleep in, I take some time to rest and recharge, maybe take a break from the gym, I don't come out of that feeling refreshed. No. Usually I feel much more sluggish. I wake up groggier, I feel more lazy and less motivated to do anything. Meanwhile, the times that I had like a CEO level schedule where the whole day is just absolutely jam-packed with high stakes commitments, up at 5 a.m., workout, cold shower, deep work all day, you would think I'm exhausted. But quite the contrary. I'd usually feel much more locked in, alert, sharp, and just all around more alive. So what's going on here? Intuitively, you would think, energy is a resource. You have a finite amount of it, you spend it by doing things, and when it runs low, you need to rest to fill it back up. This seems obviously true, and it's how most people think about their motivation, their drive, their capacity to work, like a battery. It's full, you do stuff that depletes it, so you need to rest to recharge, and you repeat that. And yeah, like biologically, that is true. Your body does need sleep, your muscles do need recovery. I'm not saying otherwise. I'm not here to convince you of magic or something. But here's where the model breaks down. In practice, rest often doesn't leave you feeling recharged. In practice, the people who rest the most often have the least perceived levels of energy. And the people who do the most, who are constantly in motion, somehow seem to have almost endless reserves. Because activity doesn't just cost you energy, it can also generate it. The more you do, the more you feel you can do. Momentum creates momentum. But the opposite is also true. Inaction breeds inaction. Rest creates the appetite for even more rest. When you're not demanding anything from yourself, your capacity shrinks to match that. You don't recharge by doing nothing. You sort of decay. The less you do, the less you feel like doing anything. And the more you resist doing the quote-unquote difficult stuff. It's a bottomless pit. This is why you can feel exhausted after a week of doing almost nothing and energized in the middle of the most demanding and stressful periods. It's not a paradox once you understand what's actually happening. Maybe you remember the concept of activation energy from chemistry class. It's the energy required to start a chemical reaction. The reaction, most of the time, won't just happen on its own by putting together the chemicals. You have to invest some energy first. You have to clear a threshold. But once the reaction starts, it doesn't need that external push anymore. It keeps itself going. It becomes self-sustaining. And in many cases, it actually starts releasing energy. More energy comes out than you had to put in to get it going. I think our drive and motivation works exactly like that. The initial push, getting out of bed when you don't want to, starting to work when you don't feel like it, going to the gym when you'd rather stay on the couch. That's the activation energy. It costs you something to get started. It feels hard. Your body and your mind are telling you, not now, not today, let's do it later. But once you get past that threshold, once the reaction starts, there's a shift. The motion starts sustaining itself. And if you keep going, it even starts giving back. And the thing that once felt so hard becomes enjoyable and helps you do even more things. The problem is that most people never get past the beginning. They stay on the wrong side of this equation, waiting to feel ready, waiting for energy to appear. And of course, it never does, because it can't. The energy is on the other side. You have to pay up first. So in the beginning, you need to start spending energy you don't necessarily have to get things going. You spend your way out of debt. Take on a little credit, invest it, make a return, clear the debt. All right, but now, why does this actually work? I think the deeper explanation comes down to identity. And I want to be clear. This isn't some law of attraction, woo-woo thing. This is actually very logical if you think about it. Your mind is an interpretation machine. It's constantly looking out at the world, trying to understand patterns and make predictions. And it uses historic data points, all the things you've seen before, as a lens for interpreting reality. That's the principle behind a Rorschach test, for example. Different people can look at the same picture and see completely different things because they're operating from different priors. And the same applies with respect to how you view yourself. Your mind sees what you've done, how you've shown up, what patterns you've established, and constructs an image of who you are, your identity, which it uses to predict what you're going to be capable of going forward, what you'll do in the future. This happens automatically. below the level of conscious thought. Imagine I cleared your memory. You got like complete amnesia. And you wake up and I tell you one of two things. Either I tell you, hey, you're the superstar CEO of a billion-dollar company and also on the side a world-class athlete, a Hollywood actor, and just the most amazing and impressive person in the world. Or, hey, oh, by the way, you're a complete bum loser who's got fired from his job, your girlfriend dumped you, oh, and no one likes you. In both instances, you're physically the same, but I think it's safe to say that you'll feel completely different about yourself and the things you're capable of, because your internal self-identity will be nothing alike. So it feels completely different to be you. Your confidence will be different. Your relationship to difficulty will be different. Your brain's internal machinery, the thing constantly making predictions, planning your next moves, it's operating on completely different assumptions. That's why when you're disciplined, you're giving yourself proof points all the time that you are disciplined, which leads to more discipline because it reinforces the belief. Each action confirms the identity, and the identity makes the next action easier. It's like you're taking authorship over this internal identity engine. And vice versa, if you're low energy, undisciplined, taking the easy path, that feeds on itself too. It's a self-perpetuating cycle, either vicious or virtuous. And it's not just about taking action, but also the level at which you do it. When you look at any kind of high performer, a pro athlete or a successful founder, for example, ask yourself, do you think they have to force themselves every single day to go to the gym, to eat clean, to work those long hours? Do you think they need discipline for that? Not really. That is just what they do. It's their baseline. Actually, they have to force themselves to take a break, to rest, to step back, because that's just who they are at this point. That's what they want to do. A big part of why people never make certain changes they know they should be making is that it all seems just so daunting in the beginning. They see how hard things are in the present and project that out and think that their life will just forever be this act of forcing themselves to show up, and all this will just forever be hard. But that perception is just wrong. And it makes the start feel even more difficult than it already is, which makes it that much harder to get started. You know, I used to work as a waiter at a restaurant. And one thing I noticed pretty quickly was that the quote-unquote most difficult shifts weren't the ones you would expect. The nights where we had a full house and I was running between tables nonstop, those flew by. You were in it, engaged. It was actually fun. The truly painful days were the slow ones. Barely any customers, just standing around waiting for the minutes to pass. And once again, you'd leave those shifts feeling more exhausted than after the busy nights, even though you'd done almost nothing. Taking things seriously, actually engaging, actually trying to do things well, it transforms how you experience the thing. When you're fully engaged, there's a sense of challenge, a sense of progression. It's like a flow state, that sweet spot where you're challenged but not overwhelmed, and you can get completely immersed in something. Again, doing more, operating at a higher level, gives you back more energy. And that's ultimately why it's actually easier in many ways to perform at your work, go beast mode in the gym, strictly adhere to your diet, read every day, all at the same time, and why it feels more natural than doing just any one of those things by itself. Okay, but what do you actually do with this now? Especially if you're maybe in a low energy state at the moment. Well, first of all, your intuition is wrong. You can't rest your way out of that. You need to start doing it to get the ball rolling, but do it strategically. I mean, you are low energy right now. You need to accept that. If you jump from 0 to 100 immediately, then you just won't stick with it. And that means no momentum. What I recommend is this. Start small. You need to pick a specific thing, something that is hard and requires discipline, but that's also simple enough that you can't mess it up. You know, something that doesn't require a lot of thought or planning. And when you have that, you need to commit completely. This is the tinder for your fire. For example, it could be something like taking cold showers, waking up early, doing intermittent fasting, putting your phone away in the morning, or even something as simple as making your bed after waking up. Things that happen early in the day work extra well because they can prime how the rest of the day unfolds. You get like a little extra boost of momentum for everything that follows. Each time you do the thing, you give yourself a proof point. You reinforce the belief that this is who you are, the kind of person who does hard things, who doesn't negotiate with themselves, who is disciplined. And that proof point raises your self-identity just a little bit, which makes the next thing possible, and the next thing, and so on. And before you know it, you have a nuclear chain reaction going. All right, and just to reiterate, and so there are no misunderstandings, I'm obviously not saying you shouldn't take breaks or sleep or whatever. But you know, maybe if you're tired right now, that's not really what's holding you back. Maybe you actually just need to do more. Anyways, that's it for this one. If you like this video, be sure to leave a like and let me know what is your commitment going to be. Drop it in the comments. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and not miss out on future videos. See you on the next one.